Hello, welcome back to the channel. So I had this video I'm doing today is to correct some misinformation I gave. So previously we looked in the first video, we saw there was at least 20 inconsistencies in the timelines and stories. The second one, I indicated that none of the boys with Caden disagreed with the story. In fact, I'm hearing rumors that maybe some actually agree, but I haven't seen anything official. In the third video, I'd mentioned that none of the ladies at the house disagreed with Caden's story. And this is the point I need to correct, because apparently there is some documented disagreement on this. So to correct that, I am going to, where'd that go? We'll take a look at this. Now, this AI tools that I like to use, they do really good at social media and web searches and sifting through information, but what it really doesn't excel well at is pictures and screenshots and such like that. So I didn't find that. I've been watching some other type videos and digging around myself. So this piece here where we're looking at is Carter Combs, and that is the birthday girl's sister and girlfriend to Jack Newton. So she disagrees with Caden. So let's see what she has to say. The 911 call was made at 5:53. There's a lot of stuff that happened at 5:53 in theory, or close to that, I believe. So the whole 5:15 is wrong, and phones and calls and text will prove that like they did. Well, I did hear that some people like to factory reset their phones on Monday morning just for fun for some reason. So anyways, that won't get rid of the data, but just interesting to note there. I also just want to mention, out of everyone there, Jack has been the only one to take a lie detector willingly and pass it too, and he's been cleared from the investigation. Well, I understand he took one. I don't know if he passed. I have heard he say that. But you have a good point right there. Jack, let's assume this is all truthful, because, I have no reason to think otherwise. So Jack been the only one to take a lie detector willingly and pass it too. He's been cleared from the investigation. Do you think maybe other people should maybe go this path? Has Carter or Avery or Jasmine or Logan or anybody other than Jack taking a lie detector test to get themselves ruled out of the investigation? Because that would probably help the investigation not focus resources where they don't need to be. Either way, she has a point here. Also, I'd like to mention, Jack didn't just walk in and tell us Noah had passed away. He came running in and buried, don't think that's spelled quite right, but anyway, his head into my bed saying Noah was gone, stayed for a minute and said, I got to get back to Noah. I can't leave him alone there. Also, like the phones do show, none of us went back to sleep. Not sure exactly how your phone verifies that, but anyway. Me, Logan, Avery, and Jazz, and her parents, stayed outside crying, not understanding any of this, just like you. But this is also spreading lies, and I will stand by that in court too. And I pray to God Noah gets justice and all his family and friends have peace. This has gone on way too long with no answers. Noah's the only victim here. Okay. So, again, I just wanted to bring in that I was incorrect in my previous video. There is definitely somebody that states that the 515 timeline is incorrect, and they put it in writing. Now, I don't know. I was digging around. I was trying to find some information. So, right here, there's a few points, but right here, again, this is not me saying this. Me as in Carter, Logan, Ava, and Jazz, and her parents stayed outside crying. So, then the sheer number of adults that showed up that morning is quite interesting. I mean, Caleb was at least at the accident site, and Jazz parents, and I also understand maybe her sister and boyfriend. There was a Sarah Long, who's Stevie Howard's sister, was on site. Anyway, but just to try to get a timeline, because I mean, obviously it wasn't 5:15, and the 911 call only went at 5:53. So I dug around, and we have this Renee Millan. This is Jasmine's mother, and this is her statement. It says, "I have no clue where people get their info from. No, I didn't clean up anything at the house, which I arrived at almost 7. So she's putting her time of arrival at about 7. Actually, when I pulled up and things were being picked up, I told them it's pointless. The cops will know this was a party. After talking to a few of them, I told them that they would be the first ones to investigate it because they're the last ones to see him alive." Well, that's a good point, and makes sense to me. But let's keep going. Secondly, talk of me, quote, removing guns is being made into something it's not. The kids that were leaving said they had a few guns in their vehicles. Well, my understanding, there's 3 firearms that was listed there. There's a AR-15, a 12 gauge, and a hunting rifle. And everybody know who owns those. And if their kids had them in their cars and they were leaving, I'm not sure why that was discussed or a fact at all. I mean, the guns are going with their respective owners, be my understanding. Don't know what kind because I'm not a gun person, but all I know is big ones. So I put them in my vehicle to take where they belonged. Well, were they not in the vehicles of who they belonged to already? Or am I missing something here? I am still digging around. So if you do have answers to any of these questions, please do share below. She goes on to say, guns were never thought to be the cause of death at the time or any time thereafter. I never told anyone to leave the house. The house was never cleaned with anything at all because, to my knowledge, the house wasn't cleaned for weeks to make sure law enforcement didn't need to come back for anything. Homeowner's decision, not mine. The time Jazz called me would have been between 5:45 and 6 a.m. It takes about 40 to 45 minutes to get to Terrell. I have enough time to jump up and get dressed, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's all I have of this screenshot. But the pieces of information that look interesting here, is she puts herself on scene at almost 7 a.m., which, is very different. I think Caden had her about 6:30, but anyway, we'll go with this. This is the Combs, Millan, and Newton timeline. So what Kading has to say is not part of this. So when we go back to the first one, all right, 911 was 553. And we're going to see here shortly, because at 553, nobody at the house yet knows, right, that Noah's passed in this timeline. So who else do we have? Well, let's take a look at this, because this is Caleb Newton. So, you know, we know Jack Newton's story about waking up late at 5:30, text his father at 5:53 about a hat and going fishing and so on and so forth. So this is Caleb Newton, his father, and this is his statement. Everyone that I've asked has advised me to social media silence because every comment or piece of info is met with attacks, no matter how valid. But here's mine. Punctuation and stuff is quite lacking. Here's mine. We had a plan to go fishing that morning with my son and my dad, supposed to meet at my house at 6:30. So they're supposed to meet at 6:30. My son texted me at 5:53 saying he'd overslept a bit and he'd meet us at the ramp, and to bring him a hat. He couldn't find his. To my knowledge, I don't think he knew. No, it was even missing yet. Then about 6:05, I'm assuming that's at about 6:05 a.m. I got a call that no parent ever wants to get. It was short and hard to understand him, but he had driven up on Noah. There were already a couple vehicles there that had made the 911 call. I called my dad, told him about the call. He said, come pick me up on the way. We drove straight there. By the time we were, like, seriously folks, like, some commas and periods and punctuation would be like a little nice, you know. Like, seriously, are we grade school? Anyways, by the time we arrived, there were several law enforcement and fire and rescue on the job. I went to console my son. Yes, I was on scene. Then it was being treated as an accident, not a crime scene. We were all trying to piece together what happened. I had been on scene just a few minutes when I called to tell his dad I wasn't until the ME got there, and told HP that his injuries weren't extensive enough to have been a car strike. Then the scene was cleared and processed. I went with HP to inspect the UTV, but there was no signs of damage or cleaning. It was still very dusty. It's an old UTV, and it tipped. It was minor enough to not leave scratches. Just a couple days later, I was called in the interview with HP, told everything I knew, and gave them my phone to pull anything they wanted. I was told that, quote, they knew he hasn't been beaten, but they didn't think it was a car strike either. That's the most important info that's been told to me. This is all complete, locked-in facts. Now my opinion is I've known the group of kids for years. They're great kids. I don't in any way think any of his friends have the character to hurt each other, or even to be scared to call for help if there was an accident. They knew of, to me, they are innocent until I'm told otherwise. Another note, my brother-in-law lost his life hitting a parked car in my UTV a little over a year ago. Why that's brought up, I've no idea. His accident was actually caught in my neighbor's yard cam. So this is really about 4 paragraphs, and not to nitpick too much, but holy crap, there's not one period, one comma, nothing. Like, this is one single run-on sentence with changing topics. But anyway, the information we need here is they were supposed to meet at 6:30 at his house. He got a text at 5:53 about getting running late and meeting him there. 6:05, he says Jack called him as he was on scene. So, which is also goes along with what Jack says. I did see his clip. I don't have it right here in front of me at the moment, but these were his times as well. So going back, we know 6:05 was when he called his father. He was still on scene. But when he came back here to, share this information, obviously it it would have been after 6:05, because he didn't text it back. He came back and buried his head and all this kind of stuff. But the interesting part here is when he left, it was Carter, Logan, Avery, Jazz, and her parents. Parents only arrived at 7. So does this fit the timeline in a sensible way? I don't know. Anyways, I just want to take a look at some of this. One other thing I did find, not that it's gives us any timeline, but this is actually from Sarah Long, who is Stevie Howard's sister, and she is responding to Elijah Lee, which is Caden's mother. It says, I'm Stevie's sister, and yes, I did wake your son up that morning. So again, I don't know what time she arrived on site or claims to. I'm looking for that information. If you do know, please share. I have my phone records and location data, plus I have 4 witnesses that watched me walk in the house and wake up your son and a couple others that morning. I arrived on scene. Wow. Okay. I'm not a liar. Never have been. I'm a credible person, and I can back that up. Okay. I have given my statements to my attorney, and I have reached out to law enforcement recently. So yes, there are some inconsistencies with his account, referring to Caden, of what happened. I wasn't trying to get involved or withhold information from law enforcement, but when I saw your son's post last week, I immediately reached out to my attorney and law enforcement to share with them my concerns. Again, I'm just showing this as another person, another family member that seems to have arrived early morning Monday on site. Main thing here is she claims to have woken Caden up. Caden claims to have been woken up when Jack came in. And anyways, keeping Caden's story out of this, because this is the Combs, Millan, and Newton timeline. And that is pretty much what I've found. And I know this information is out there. And again, I'm starting to find some of these old since deleted screenshots of text. So if there's any other ones that you know of that would help this timeline, please let me know, because I like to add to this video. We've taken a pretty good look at cadence timeline, so now it's time to really dig in and see what everybody is saying outside of that. Anyways, let me know your thoughts below. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.